Okay, I'm going to speak on a lot of topics today. So it would look random, but I'm coming to a point. This is mainly to the academics in USA and also in the world. You have to get rid of the fiat currency. You have to go to a gold-based currency. Otherwise, whatever you have earned, you will lose the value. You will lose all the value. Maybe 80% of the value you lose. Now you have to thank Donald Trump, because Donald Trump showed actually that the academics have no they have no independence. And Donald Trump says, if you don't cater to the UN colony in West Asia, we are going to cut your finances off. So, academic committee has they are no special category. They are also serfs of the system, because what you have is here is a techno-feudalist system. Okay. Now going back to Italy after the so-called Second World War, the Communist Party was strong, not in power, but they were strong. And what did the CIA and possibly the MI6 do? They started a bombing campaign, and they discredited the Communist Party in Italy. After that, they nearly recovered. Now, if you take some of the Islamic terrorists, they were created by the CIA and possibly by MI6. If you take the Mujahideens in Afghanistan, they were created by CIA. Then later on, they became Taliban. If you take the Hamas was created by Netanyahu to destroy the PLO, and they destroyed the PLO to a certain extent. So, I'm appealing to the Christians. When you have these Islamic terrorists, they were mostly created by the CIA, and you don't see the MI6 in it, but they are probably hidden in the background. Now, if you take Syria, the leader of Syria is actually ISIS man, and he was supported by the CIA, and it is reported that before, when Assad fell, right, there was a lot of MI6 activity. So Christians in this country, in the world, not in this country, in the world, might hate the Muslims, but some of these Muslim groups are funded by the West. Okay, so you have to have the Christians in the world have to have build bridges with the Muslims and try to isolate the Islamic terrorist group, because some of these Islamic terrorist groups are funded by the CIA, and MI6 is also involved in it. So you have to understand this. If you want to fight with the Muslim groups, that's up to you to do. I will not advocate that. But don't take government funds or anything others and start fighting with the Muslims, because that you have compromised the situation, and the governments will control you. So you have to me, there might be terrorist groups in Islam, but some of them were created by the West to mainly hit the Shia community, because Shia community is only 15% of the world population, whereas Sunnis are about 85, and there are divisions within the Muslim community like the Alawites, and again, if you take in Syria, now some of the Alawites and the Christians are getting killed. This stupid policy of the Western countries are actually killing Christians in West Asia. So that also the academics in America should be aware of what is happening. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about two things. The petroleum subsidies and agricultural subsidies. If you take the petroleum subsidies, you have about 800 billion petroleum subsidies during the COVID crisis, it went to about 1 trillion. Now, if you take some of the environment movement, they talk about subsidies for the renewable energy. Okay, I am for the removal of the subsidies in renewable energy. If you remove the subsidies in renewable energy, Chinese are not going to suffer, because Chinese renewable energy has they have they don't need these subsidies anymore. It will have some setback, but the renewable energy in China will they will consolidate more. If you take the agriculture subsidies in the so-called developed countries, I call them high energy countries. I don't use this term developed country. I use high energy, medium energy, and low energy countries. Especially you have European community has large agricultural subsidies. Why they do their subsidies? They are saying for agriculture, for food security. No, their main reason, food security is the reason, but main reason is they want to knock out agriculture. Right? That is the lower level. If you take the energy pyramid in biology, that is the primary producers. They are knocking out our primary producers. So we can't give that kind of subsidies in our country. That means we will become serfs, right? This was told to me by a person who is driving a three-wheel. That මාත්‍ය අපිව මේ කම්කරු කරන්න හදනවා. So the people in the West has to fight against agriculture subsidies, because the main reason why they are doing is to destroy our agriculture and become export industry or something like that. So the academics in the West have to build bridges with farmers in the East or in the South, because that they are putting us into a. So you have to get rid of the agriculture subsidies. So petroleum subsidies and agriculture subsidies, you can't remove it immediately. You have to take about 5 or 10 years to phase it out. Because what they are doing is they are destroying our agriculture and they are putting us in serfs. Now the academics in the West have to be thankful to Mr. Trump, because unlike other presidents, he can't hide his thing. So he showed the role of the academics in America, that you don't have autonomy. There is no autonomy. So you have to fight to preserve your wealth. So now I talked about agriculture, I talked about petroleum, and when it comes to renewable energy, some people want to get rid of that. They don't talk about the subsidies given the petroleum industry. So that also, when some people talk about renewable energy, they are hiding something. They don't tell you the exact problem. Okay, so there are three pieces. Now, if you take the energy pyramid in agriculture, if you take this finance industry, they are top heavy. That means you predator level. Actually, you can't use these same terms that is used in biology. There is predator and parasite in the same way. So if you take the finance industry, it is more like a parasite, not like a predator. So if you use these terms in finance, you have distortion. This is also true with physics. In physics, equilibrium is something else. When you take equilibrium in economics is something else. So we can use these terms, predator and parasite. They will have different meaning in economics. Now, if you take the fire industry, that it is predator level, right? But I think you can't say them predator. They are actually more like parasitic level, and you have the IT level. Without the IT level, you can't have the fire level. So IT also goes into that fire industry. right? We know that during the COVID, IT level entrepreneurs, their earnings were increased. So what the West did was they printed money and they moved that money into the IT level mainly, and they moved that money into the vaccine level, vaccine industry, the IT industry, and medical industry also. So there is a element of parasitic activities in all these things, and IT is the one gives you the tools to exploit. Okay, so then we have to go to Yanis Varoufakis on this, on techno-feudalism. So the academics in the world have to give leadership. Now you have people in Italy, the dock workers, they were fighting against genocide. So fighting against genocide is also a priority thing, but that has to be done as a secondary level. So first thing you have to fight is against the fiat currencies, because most of these currencies are going to lose their value. So academics in America and the world have to unite with the dock workers in Italy and say that we don't want this fiat currency, we want a gold-based currency. Right now, gold supply increases by 1% or 1.3% for a year. That is okay, because to extract the gold you have to use energy and water and things like that. So if you take the gold, it is almost conserved. It's a constant quantity. Right? Even if there is increase in gold supply in the world, it is bound by energy. It's bound by thermodynamics again. So if you take the energy pyramid in biology, there is a conservation thing. So you can't have fiat currencies and have a steady state economy. So to have a steady state economy, you have to have gold-based currency. So actually, people, if you can fight for 4-day working week, that's good. But if you want to fight for steady state economy, the priority would be to base your currency on gold and maybe also silver, because silver is used more in industries, right? So sometimes silver might appreciate more than the gold value. It is now, I think, something close to 100 to 1. The ratio of price, it might come down to about 50 to 1 in the future, because I think these things have been suppressed using financial derivatives and things like that. You have derivatives associated with the silver and gold market, and the values of these are suppressed. So you have to, there will be a lot of turmoil in the silver and gold market when they are settled, and your total fight should be to get rid of fiat currencies. If you get rid of fiat currencies, you can't channel money into that fire and IT industry, because these are actually, if you without the IT industry, it would be very difficult to commit genocide. So even genocide is associated with the IT industry in a indirect way. So that means you have to fight these things. Fight your first priority. You have to have a grand coalition, and you have to fight for to get rid of fiat currencies. If you get rid of now, if some academics may not like people who are working in the fire industry and also in the IT industry, they may not like to go into the fiat currency because they benefit having this fiat currency, because the top player is being enhanced by respective governments. So your main battle, there are many things I talked about, but your main battle should be to get rid of fiat currency. Otherwise, the academics, after they retire, their wealth will, if you are using just money, financial instruments to secure your future, what you can't future, because then you are old, your above 65, but whatever you call that, that will be gone because the money will be devalued. So you may have to invest this. I can't advise you because I am not professionally competent. Land value will be always that will come down, but land is connected to entropic capital, so it will have a value. The fiat currencies will lose value, and then you have to enhance the primary level producers in the agriculture pyramid, not the people at the top. Okay, so your investments would go into different sectors, and even in the academics in the fire industry and IT, they will suffer. The value of fiat currency go down, so they have to understand they can't be selfish. Your main idea is to get rid of the fiat currency. Otherwise, you can't preserve your wealth, and there will be social unrest. So I talked about agricultural subsidies, energy subsidies, and printing of money, enhancing the top layer. In biology, it is the predator level. So in economics, maybe you can call them the parasitic level. They are more like the parasitic activity. So this is something. Okay, if you fight against the fiat currencies, then you can stop genocide. Now genocide happened in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. They said they were killing communists, but they were killing Buddhists. So it can happen against other communities. I mean, it need not be confined to the Muslim community. Now in West Asia, because of the action of the Americans and the British, the Christians are getting killed. So that is something they hide. They don't show that point. So I think I touched upon a lot of subjects so that why this fiat currency is the thing which is promoting this genocide, and I have different label for that. I say 500 years of hegemonsterism. You have to get rid of it, right? You might think that it will favor the Christian nations. No. If genocide happens to the Muslims, genocide happens to the Buddhists, at one point it will come back and hit the Christians too. So you have to be careful of that, supporting genocide. Because if there is genocide anywhere in the world, there could be backlash. Okay? So this is something I want to express. I think I had touched upon many things. There are many fronts. You can't fight at all fronts, so you have to fight at the fiat currency level. If you get rid of fiat currencies, these lot of governments cannot. They cannot encourage, or they cannot create genocide. They are supporting genocide indirectly. You have to stop the genocide. Whether it is happening against Muslims, you can't rejoice it, because it will come to a theater near you. Okay? So to fight genocide, you have to get rid of the fiat currency.